you said you wanted to rant. What did you want to rant about?
We have 1,000,001 ways to kill each other on planet Earth, and yet I can't get global freaking internet. Come on.
That does seem really odd, doesn't it?
It does. It seems like killing people is big business. Like if you're an alien and you're doing the drive-by, hey, there's Earth. Let's go check it out, honey. I mean, the first thing you got to do is get through all the space junk. Then the second thing you're going to do is go, holy crap, look at all these standing armies. These people just hate each other. And oh, by the way, I do a little bit of Google. Yeah, because there's like aliens use Google, right? And they're like, no signal. Like, screw this place. Let's go to a different solar system.
But seriously, why can't it be a staple? Why does it have to be a thing?
Right. Like, shouldn't this be like some great, I mean, we have an international space station. You tell me we can't have an international global constellation like GPS that all it does is it relays the internet?
So are we selling this conversation short because technically we do have global internet with the cell phone networks? I mean, damn near close, right?
Well, let me define global. Basically, anywhere north and south of the Arctic and Antarctic circles, because of the way satellites work, geosynchronous, blah, blah, blah. Basically, where there's land on Earth, you should be able to get a signal. So cell towers are, very small area networks where DirecTV has a vantage point way up high in the sky, and you can obviously download from DirecTV. Let's say DirecTV is now an internet provider. You can download because you have a shot and you have a dish that points to that satellite that barely moves in the sky, if not doesn't move at all. So why is it that we can't have some sort of government initiative, just like the GPS is like run by the Air Force, for crying out loud? So why can't we just have some relays? Now, I know Mr. Musk, I don't know if I should call him Elon. We're not on first name basis. He doesn't return my calls still. He's doing the whole initiative where something like this, but I haven't really looked into it much. But the point is in the middle of nowhere, I should be able to have a dish that runs to my router, and it just works. Now,
well, the military kind of does, right?
Yes. Now, that was my job in the military. I was a satellite operator and maintainer, 25 Sierra, go Army. And so download is no problem. It's the upload, because you have to have a transmitter to send it back up. So that's where it gets a little complicated, because those put off radiation and weather and all this. So I realize it's not that simple, but it's also shouldn't be this hard in year 2018, where we're going, holy shit, all I have is like this really shit DSL connection, and that's my only option. And is
that what you're on right now, DSL?
A shit DSL connection, yes.
Like a 128K?
Oh, no. I'm sure they're paying for 10 meg, but you do a speed test, you're getting 2 meg down, and you're getting like a half meg up.
Right.
That's it. So it just blows my mind that we just don't have the infrastructure for the internet, because I don't know about you, but I think the internet's here to stay. Maybe not. Could be wrong. It's bit ubiquitous these days.
Definitely not a fad. I think it's moved out of fad.
Agreed. And I think, maybe it's capitalism getting in the way. I hate to sound socialist, but maybe it's capitalism going, hey, we could do that. But you know what? Where's the money, Kevin?
What's your 4G LTE like where you are right now?
Well, if I look at it here, since I'm in the basement, kind of tucked away from windows, it looks like 1 bar. And
so that wouldn't work.
Well, if I move it close to like the doorway here that has a shot to a window, I could actually work off that quite often. And I'm on a unlimited Verizon plan, which means I will never run out. However, at no point did they say we won't throttle your ass. And right. So I buy 15 gig a month at whatever I can pull in. And sometimes that's respectable. And what I call respectable over the cell towers, I can get 10, 15, 20 meg just over the cell tower. So it totally kills DSL.
Well, I wonder if
However,
we could try it for an episode too, just to see if it's any different. But
well, here
so
comes
far,
the however, but
however, but
I've run out of my 15 gig for the month, and it is now throttled to 600K. So, and that's just download, and upload is, south of that usually. So where's my global internet? Shouldn't we be working towards these things instead of nuclear bomb technology and things like that? Sorry to sound all like weird and liberal,
right.
but
no.
I'm just saying.
Well, speaking of working toward things, we're doing this diet challenge. I don't know. Is it diet challenge? Is it lifestyle challenge? What kind of challenge is this anyway?
I don't want it to be a diet challenge because a diet to me emotes fad and temporary. I want it to be a lifestyle change.
So it's a lifestyle challenge, but our metric for determining who wins the challenge is weight loss. Because this measure.
I'm a firm believer in you have to quantify goals. Otherwise, they're kind of pointless.
Well,
you have to have targets. Frivolous or not, too high, too low, whatever. That's the target. Aim that way and shoot, fire. So
the end of our lifestyle change challenge is the end of January 31st, or whatever that episode recording time period is for the end of January. Let's see. That would be the 30th. That last episode we would record in January would be the 30th. So the challenge ends on the 30th of January. And I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, we're each losing 21 pounds.
Roger that. That is correct.
So our target is the first one to lose 21 pounds. 21 pounds lost will put me at a svelte 165. And 21 pounds lost for Kev puts him at
170.
170. Now Kevin is an inch and a half taller than me, so that kind of makes up for the 5 pound difference, we think. I don't know. We just picked some numbers that seemed realistic. So we're a week in, and I weighed in at 180.6 this morning.
Ooh, you got decimals. So I'm on an old analog scale. So I take what I can get right now. And I am at 185 as of today.
So we're kind of like right on pace with each other at this point.
I think we're neck and neck because as long as we're 5 pounds, as long as I can stay within 5 pounds of you,
right.
I think we're like, neck and neck.
Now, the funny thing is we're both taking, they're not the same approach, but they're not completely different either.
So you want to explain, you want to exercise, explain it to me, what you're doing versus what I'm doing?
Well, we talked about this a little bit on the last show. If you want to, anybody who's listening, dial back and find out what the full details of the challenge are. You've discussed exercise to the point of failure. I'm not a believer in that. And I'm probably doing a little bit more on the regular cardio than you are as far as exercise goes.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do right now, I basically do a few things. So I do push-ups by rep count, and then I do my core stuff by time count. So I'll do like a flutter kick or a plank until the timer counts all the way down. And it helps me mentally just go to X as opposed to, do my flutter kicks quicker so I can be done faster. So I kind of mix it up. And then for running, I've gone on 3 runs that I haven't timed any of them. I keep forgetting. Not that I don't want to. I do have a Fitbit on the way, but I'm going to set my baseline, and then I'm going to try to reduce my time over time. So that's the exercise component, right?
Yep.
And then we have nutritional differences.
Yep.
Go ahead.
As far as my exercise, I'm staying pretty traditional, at least every other day, doing a 30-second cardio session on the elliptical. And then every day, I just downtime during the day, I do alternating sets of push-ups, kettlebell swings, squats, and planks. And I'm just kind of ramping up the reps on that for each set. So I just kind of throw those in, kind of taking the power, and then doing some deadlifting too, kind of doing some powerlifting stuff to boost that metabolism. Nothing crazy. Not looking to put a bunch of muscle on through this.
And nutrition wise, you're doing keto, and I am going, I need my carbs.
Yeah, but I saw that picture of your shopping cart today. You're doing it pretty. I mean, I said you were on the fruit diet or something
Uncle
like that.
Bob told me fruit has too much sugar in it and shamed me today.
But as long as you're doing calorie deficit, then you're going to lose weight. So, I mean, it's just, I'm trying to burn fat for energy and you're just kind of burning sugar for energy. So it's all good. It's just funny.
I think that was a slight comment. Was it not?
No, God, no. God, no. If we both make our goals, then it doesn't really matter how we got there. It's just, no surprise, should not be any surprise to anyone who normally listens that Kevin and Bob are taking two slightly different paths to an answer.
You know, I feel guilty. Maybe I should turn on my podcast Zoom on my phone and go run. We'll do the first ever podcast while jogging. It'll be a shit show. No, it's a terrible idea.
That wouldn't be any fun at all.
No,
I can't talk while jogging after a while anyway. So,
all right. So we're using MyFitnessPal and we're now friends. I don't know what that gets me now that we're friends on MyFitnessPal. Maybe I can just see how you're beating me.
Well, you'll see when I log stuff. You'll see when I log stuff. I don't know I guess you'll see when I update my weight. Do you update your weight in there as well?
I do. It's even got spots for you can take a picture and have like a over time. And I've done a few shots, but they're not leaving my phone anytime soon. Hackers, back off.
Yeah, I'm not ballsy enough to do that either. So yeah, I just for right now I haven't been very good about tracking my phone or my food. I do see that 2 hours ago your food and exercise diary was completed.
Yes.
But I don't see anything else about you, I don't think. Like,
yeah,
I don't. Well, I do see you lost 5 pounds. That's what I see. I don't see your weight.
But it doesn't say what my actual weight is because I was totally trying to see what yours was.
Correct. No, it just tells you how much you've lost. So.
And so I've ordered
mine actually says plus 1.2 or something like that though, because I've been using this for over a long time and I am over what I was like months prior.
Oh, and I signed up for a challenge. Dick's Sporting Goods is a challenge. So if you log 15 workouts in the next 30 days, you get eligible for like a gift card drawing, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if you saw that.
It's a great app. Yeah, I did actually see that notification too. It's a great app for that. You can drive yourself in a bunch of different ways.
I have ordered way too much gear. Now I know what industry I need to target with my coding. I ordered a Fitbit, which I'm going to tether to my phone while I run and all that stuff because I want to know my exact distances and whatnot. I ordered 2 30-pound kettlebells because I'm graduating from the 2 20-pounders that I have. I just need more resistance, which is a good thing. I bought some resistance bands, which are basically giant freaking rubber bands, and saw some pretty good exercises to do with that. So I'm a big believer of, well, not a big believer. It's preferential that I work out from home as well as work from home, just because it's not really the membership, it's just the ass pain of driving over there. I think that would be a barrier to my success.
Yes, getting there is the hardest part. And when there is right there in your house, then it's much easier to get there.
Exactly. Still playing basketball. We've played 2 games now. We've lost both. We lost first game by 6. We lost this last one in overtime by 1 point. And last year, the team was losing by 20. And it's not because of me, because I haven't yet scored. But, man, I get some boards and get some steals. Yes, I do.
And get your hustle on.
That's right. All right.
All right. You ready to talk some tech?
Let's do it.
You are listening to the Bob and Kevin Show with Bob Beattybar
and Kevin Gishesky. Each week we cover relevant tech and social issues related to technology.
And more weeks than not, we're joined by special guests to add additional perspective to our topics.
Our website is bobandkevin.show.
And our episodes can be found on virtually any podcast network.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Bob and Kevin Show.
Bob, what are we doing today?
Well, Kevin, I think we're going to cover a handful of topics that we've actually talked about before. Interesting that the news stream is finally catching up. Facial recognition, is it going too far? Voice technologies, have they really developed anything new or just repackaged some old stuff? And apparently Alibaba kicking Amazon's ass, and maybe some other stuff along the way that Kevin has posted to me throughout the week. So without further ado, I'm Bob from the Bob and Kevin Show, and my co-host, as usual, is...
Me.
He's never going to say his name, ladies and gentlemen. Never going to say his name. So with that, Kevin, get us into the topics today.
Well, I'm going to start with another rant. So I've been trying...
Or not get us into the topics today.
I was tasked with kind of touching different APIs today. And let me tell you, man, Google to me, and I don't want to prejudice the jury here, so I'm curious what you think. Google's like interfaces, their APIs, they're all these hoops you got to go through just to get your own freaking data is ridiculous. And I spent an extreme amount of time following step-by-step instructions. First, you got to do this. Now you got to do this. Now go over here. Now you do this. Now tip your hat sideways. Now do this. Now tap your foot 3 times. And I was still far from my API. Not because I hadn't made progress. I made a ton of progress. But it's just all these hoops. What the hell has happened to Google?
Well, first of all, I guess I don't have a frame of reference of where they were. But what's your take on what's happened to them? Because when you say API, I'm thinking, okay, so you've got an endpoint and you ask it for some stuff, and you either get it all or you get just the pieces that you ask for on a filter.
Yes.
Well, okay, so how did they complicate that?
So it's AdWords, and you can't use your AdWords account. You have to create a new account with a separate email just for API access. And once you do that, then you have to link your account to this management account, because there's like this management account. You can't just use your stuff here. And then you have to, depending on the API you want to use, you have to either use OAuth 2, get a token. There's like 6 things, and Google has splintered all their things. So there's something called Ad Manager and AdWords. And you have to click a thing that says, well, which one am I using? Because I have no freaking idea. It's got the word ad. I just need to know ads. And then you have to if this icon appears in the top right, this is your experience. And if this icon's in the top right, this is so you start having these different forks. These forks start explaining that, okay, click here, do this. And guess what? The UI has changed and the documentation is old. So now we're just like in this, what applies? And then finally I get to an SDK, and they've got one for, all the usual suspects. Python over at Google. They've got Java. Hey, look at that. They got a .NET one. You click on that one, and it's like the most unhelpful code base ever. And they want you to use this SDK that I have yet to find. Look, if I didn't have anything but curl, what could I type? What are my options? And that is usually the de facto curl, just the command line thingy. And oh my gosh. So I got super frustrated there. So then I had to go over to Facebook. Yes, Facebook, the platform I quit. So I had to sign up with a business account just so I could access somebody else's API. And they ask personal information. Hey, what's your birthday? Hey, what's your gender? I'm like, honestly, I don't care to share that with you. But they don't give you the option to not,
Oh, so that drop down was the Facebook API, not the Google one?
I can't remember which one I sent you. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about gender drop-down boxes here. And please, don't add us, please, for the love of God.
Share your thoughts on where we screw this up, please.
Yeah, because I'm sure we will. But so there's that. And then I go to a third API that's kind of I've never heard of before. Bam, I have a token. Bam, I'm in the API in like 2 minutes. And I didn't really go into deep dive on the Facebook API, but again, now you got to create this app, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and it's just barrier after barrier. Holy crap!
Do you think that is because of just the whole bootstrapped, rambling nature of both of those giant behemoth projects?
Yeah, what I think it is small company is very tight, organized, focused. Two big companies have probably deprecated more APIs than the number of years I've been alive. And it's just the Wild West because they're such big companies, both Facebook and Google. And the standard is there's no standard, or it's the standard of the week. And now when you marry standards of the week over time, you get this just ball of mud. And for me,
wasn't GraphQL meant to like cool that out for everything on the Facebook side at least? Because I mean they're all over the place, and that's why they needed something like a GraphQL, right? I'm
going to give Facebook a mulligan right now because I'm not even to the API yet. I have to create an app which I don't have access to, and deep breathe. But Google, I have full access, and it is just a shit show of if then else, and it's all in this documentation form, and just none of it is clear. And I mean, do you remember using YouTube when back in the day? I don't know how you thought the UI was there. I just think it's terrible, especially the management UI. It's just like, I don't even know what to do here. And Google, shouldn't we be looking at you guys as one of the like trendsetters? This is the way it's done, guys and gals. This is the way we do it. Man, I'm gonna screw up this episode. So I'm just continually disappointed by Google over the years. They are on a downward trend for me still. They are grounded. If you remember a few episodes back, they're still grounded.
Yes, and it was funny because one of the things that you said is, don't you think, someone like them would have an army of people who just specialized in UX?
Well, they probably do. The problem is they probably have no. Well, UX is very opinionated, right? I think it should be like this. I think it should be like this. Well, I get paid more than you. I win. So it's so that's part of the problem. It's very subjective. What is the air quotes right way? I don't know. Maybe if I could define it.
But if you back it up with data, so Google is a data giant. So if you back it up with research and data, then UX actually is not opinionated. We've tested this with 60,000 users, and 48,000 of them liked it this way. They were more successful in their tasks this way.
What if you don't conduct a test?
Well, you have to. That's a critical part of UX is testing.
Maybe they ain't doing that because.
Well, yeah, I've never been asked to demo, or maybe that's why everything's in beta. Maybe everything is a giant UX test.
Well, and then think about the two different main user groups. You've got non-tech users. You got the sheep, the users, and then you have the shepherds, the developers. Do you really think there's a whole lot of A/B testing going on? Hey, how does our API work? I don't think they give two shits about that. All they care about is that front-end sheep experience, in my opinion.
Right. But still, even in that regard, it's very difficult to know where to click to get to the information that you need to get rolling.
When you have a free API, how motivated are you as a API provider to get people onboarded if you're not going to make any money on this?
True enough. But apparently their model has been, it's free, it's free, it's free. Oops, it's not.
I need to coin a term because I keep saying what this is, but basically, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the show, but some companies are so successful that they can afford to be sloppy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we make so much money, guys.
It's FU money.
And gals. Damn it, I did it again. Yeah, we have FU money, and then if we're sloppy, who cares? It's a tax write-off. All that slop is tax write-off anyway. So we need to coin a term for, you know what? We're doing so well, we can afford to be sloppy, and we have zero motivation to tighten that up.
I think it's called monopoly.
It's very possible because I've worked for a few companies. Well, one in particular where that was the case. We were pulling in money so fast we could barely keep up counting it, let alone give a shit about fixing any of the slop. And I would say most companies would say, sign me up. Where do I get me some of that?
Right. I think at this time it's important to let the listeners know out there that the thoughts and opinions expressed by Bob and Kevin on the Bob and Kevin Show are exclusively and implicitly the thoughts and opinions of Bob and Kevin only, not their employers. And we're
so it's like inversely proportional. The more successful you are, the less tight and focused you can be. You can be more sloppy. And the less successful you are, the more you think it's because you're sloppy. And
right.
you're
motivated to clean things up.
Right. And it's like the small team is trying too hard because they're crossing every T, dotting every I, and going, why is there no money? And the big companies are going, you know what? We have the most unsecure API ever, but it gives you what you want when you want it, and it's like data porn. And just give us the money, and if it goes down 3 times this month, you won't care because it's data porn and you're addicted. You know, it's like
perfect being the enemy of good, and then you need us, we don't care.
Right. So anyway, that was a long opening rant. We have some other topics to talk about.
Necessarily a rant, and I think I want to. So since you've screwed up the whole guys thing several times in the last 5 minutes, let's jump into this little graphic that you pasted to me earlier today. Kevin pasted in our group Slack chat a drop-down dialogue. And
this is Google, by the way. I'm sure.
Oh, it was Google. Yeah, because it's got the blue. I think that is Google Blue for sure. It's got a gender selection drop down, and it says female, male, rather not say, or custom. So I'm going to jump in with my thoughts right away. Why the fuck does it matter? Like, why on this intake form? What was the context of this intake form? To sign up for the API?
Yes, it was. It was creating a user account. They want to know my gender.
And they want to know your gender for why?
To tailor my experience, I believe.
To tailor your experience.
In fact, this might be Facebook. Gosh, I can't remember. I just know that they both asked. But
did they both give? Well, okay, so one probably just gave male, female, and this other more. I'm throwing progressive in air quotes.
Oh, damn
these
it.
other 2 options.
I don't want to get it wrong. One of them was Facebook, one of them was Google, and I signed up for both today. Facebook definitely said, we need your gender because we want to tailor your experience.
Oh boy, this is just.
I think it's bullshit.
I think it's so challenging on so many levels. They want your gender because they want the data of your
demographic.
Yeah, that's all they want. They want the demographic data. But it's kind of like somebody posted a long time ago that a picture of a t-shirt place, this meme, and it was a picture of a t-shirt place, and it says there are not only 2 genders, is like what the writing was on the t-shirt. And then in the little selector down below to pick your t-shirt, it was your size, and do you want the male or the female version of the shirt?
Okay.
The cut. So the t-shirt itself says there are more than 2 genders, but in the drop-down selector, it has male and female. So like that's a gender irony thing. But why does the style have to be gender specific? Why can't it just be you have cut A and cut B? And cut A and cut B have different sizing. It doesn't matter what your junk is. It doesn't even matter how you identify.
All right, let me put you on the spot.
We have 2 different cuts.
I'm putting you on the spot. And we've already had our disclaimer. So let's imagine you work for Acme Corp. And Acme Corp's suits come down and say, Bob, we need first name, last name, gender on this sign-up form. What does your drop-down look like, Bob?
Well, first of all, I would educate the management team at Acme Inc. that this is just a shit bucket that they're stepping into, and they might think very carefully before they even put the gender. I would ask why it's necessary. First and foremost, why is it necessary?
It's a great question, by the way.
Secondly, do you feel that this is inclusive enough? Or what are the options that you're going to include that are going to make us look like a company that's thinking about inclusivity?
All right.
So those would be my 2 things. First and foremost, the consultative part of me would be like, well, what the fuck do we need this for? Why do we need to know the person's gender?
Right.
And if they say, well, because they get a free t-shirt when they sign up, then let's give them the option of which style they would like to pick instead of telling us.
I really like your answers, by the way, because let's make no assumptions. I mean, even like the more benign assumption, I am a male and I'm signing up, but I want the female shirt because I'm going to give it to my wife, potentially, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so that's good. So we've got male, female.
I know you
rather
want to give squishy answers because then you're like, oh, damn, what's the next question?
So right now I'm tracking with you. I think the best thing to do is why are we asking this question?
Right. Well, because the world hasn't, and when I'm saying the world here, I'm saying the marketing world. The marketing world hasn't evolved past standard demographic breakdowns. And one of the standard demographic breakdowns is the stereotyping and assumption that and you mentioned it earlier when they said, so we can tailor your experience. So they think the marketing world thinks they have it figured out of what the experience is for a man versus an experience for a woman or male and female, whichever term.
And to stereotype the pink versus blue.
Yeah, exactly. They think they've got it nutted down to pink versus blue. And it's going to take, I mean, think about how long it's taken, and they still don't have this part right with, like marketing for women. They don't have this right. So think about how long that's taken. Think about how much longer it's going to take for them to just actually start marketing for people.
So I don't want to cross-contaminate this, but you've also got a similar corollary here with the race drop-down, right?
This is the Bob and Kevin show after all, so you can totally cross-contaminate.
Well, so race too. I've always kind of like scratched my head and go, why do you need to know my race?
I can't remember the last time that I've remembered seeing one on a non-government site, though.
Yep, government's usually where I see it, which is ironic, I think.
And once again, that's weird. It's not about the experience. That's about tracking. That's census type data tracking.
I really wish we were more homogenous in our human. It's like we're humans. Are you human or not human? That's basically all I really care about.
Well, I think that, without getting too like hippy dippy about it, I think you're going to see companies that are thinking about the world in the correct way, focusing on the human experience, not the gender, creed, color experience.
So I can guarantee you, if Acme Corp was located in my neck of the woods, and certain beliefs prevailed, it would absolutely represent what is on your birth certificate, because it's a common political drum that gets beat around here. It's nope, there is no such thing as biologically. It's like we're asking. We almost got to ask, what question are you asking? So, because you have gender at birth, that's kind of more factual, and then you have gender you identify with. So a lot of times those lines get blurred into the same thing.
But unless I'm buying a penis sock, my gender at birth is relatively irrelevant.
It only really matters probably to your partner. Right? Do you have one of those or do you not have one of those? And doesn't matter either way.
Once again, that may or may not even be important. Like, I mean, and you're not going to fill out a form for that.
All right.
Except maybe on a dating site, I guess.
Yeah. So, all right, let me give you two examples where this gets complicated. The police arrest you, Bob, and a dating site. So let's go with the police. So the police arrest Bob.
Scenario A. The police.
Yes. Bob has been arrested for excessive happiness in Batavia, Illinois. Kevin is driving as we speak to go bail him out. I now have a lawyer, or I have passed the bar exam, so I am now his lawyer, and I request a copy of the police report. And right there it says gender, and it has two boxes. You can check one or check the other, male or female. Should we change those two, Bob?
Yeah. Why not? Because first of all, I get arrested unless they stick their hands down my pants. They're not going to be able to verify my gender of birth. And
okay.
So, I mean, it just seems like and take this statement not out of context, anybody who's listening, it just seems like such an irrelevant piece of factual data.
Just to complicate it one more level, because it wouldn't be the Bob and Kevin show unless we did. All right, Bob.
Spoiler alert, we're not solving anything, just for the record.
Your cheap-ass lawyer, Kevin, has failed to get you bonded out, and now they're putting you into the happiness tank. Are they putting you into the... Which tank are they putting you into?
I'm going to be in trouble no matter which tank I go into, so...
do you get to pick is my question.
That's a great question. And I mean, so wow, this is weird.
I've really put you on the spot. You can punt if you want to. It's 4th down.
I know, but there's some important things to be said here. And so I have real life experience even within the last 24 hours.
You've been arrested for happiness?
Not of getting arrested for happiness and having to pick which tank I was going to go into. But being a school board member, we're challenged with this a lot. And the argument that gets presented all the time, and this is kind of where the getting arrested thing would go, is it an issue related to safety? And I think being in the overnight happiness tank or in a prison cell is a little bit different than an educational experience. So we often, as school board members, take into account the safety of all the children involved. So where is the child who claims an identity, who identifies as a different gender? Like, where does that child go? Where is that child the most comfortable? Safe. Not just comfortable, but comfortable and safe. Where does that child not fear for their safety? So then the counter argument to that is, well, do the other children fear for their safety because of the presence of that new student? And that's where it gets like, you can't say, well, no, of course they shouldn't feel concerned for their safety, because they actually do. But at the end of the day, I think the one definitely outweighs the many, because the safety of one individual is much easier to accommodate than the concern of safety for many.
Okay, I'm gonna bail you out, but not not in jail, but figuratively here. So let's return the call stack here. We're about 2 or 3 deep, back to the drop down. So if I could summarize, if somebody asks you to create a gender drop down, the first question is it really necessary?
Yeah, and why do we need it? Why do we need it?
And secondly, in the case of t-shirts, because I could easily see if somebody said, well, yeah, we need to know if you're getting the female or the male version. I think it would be way easier. And I actually think you did solve some things here for me. You basically say, well, here we got package A and package B and even package C, or we got permutations of all the goodies. Which one would you like?
Yeah.
And you get to pick whatever.
This one's got a scoop neck and shorter sleeves, and this one has a round neck and longer tail kind of thing. I mean, it's just, you pick the style that suits you, not your gender.
And I also think we can agree that this is a super slippery topic at most organizations, because it isn't just where I would work or you would work. I think a lot of places might actually have what the heck do we do, guys? I mean, or damn it, gang. Oh my God.
Y'all. All
right.
What do we do, y'all?
So that's the 3rd time. I'm really trying to break myself from using the phrase guys. It is yet another topic I'm going to get in trouble on. I am actively trying. Don't at me, for the love of God. Okay.
And it's super fun to say y'all. So just try to say y'all.
No, it makes me sound way too much like I'm from Indiana.
But if everybody starts saying y'all, then nobody knows where you're from.
And nobody from Europe has any idea what that means. They think we're from Texas suddenly. So.
Right.
Okay. Final word on that topic.
It's sticky.
Okay.
That's the final word.
So I was reading an article about voice assistants. I shared it with you briefly right before the show. And long story short, the gist of the article, it was on Recode. And if we're nice, we'll leave the link somewhere. Actually, if it's more of a function if we remember.
And I'm way too lazy when I write those up.
Yeah, totally.
Publish.
Basically, it's like, what has the voice activated things gotten us? what's the most use cases, and is it anything really new? And really the article, I think, comes up with, well, it's really nothing new. It's just, a different way of accessing the same old. The use cases, Bob, I don't know if are you looking at the article right now? Or,
no, actually, I was staring at the picture thinking it was going to give me some kind of knowledge.
No. So a little quick trivia here. What is the number one use case for a smart speaker?
Probably playing music.
Very good. What's the number two?
Turn on my lights.
No, that is somewhere farther down.
Tell me the weather. There we go.
Oh, are you cheating?
I am cheating now. I finally got down to that part of it.
All right. So for the lay listener, it goes music, weather, fun questions, online search, alarms, checking the news, making calls, and it starts to drop off pretty quick there.
Whoa, that's so funny because mine goes smart home commands and then music. And then hardly any of that other stuff. It probably goes smart home, music, and then alerts and reminders.
So, Bob, I don't know if you have your tinfoil hat on. Actually, you totally have it on. I see it. Do smart home speakers?
No, that's just my head.
Are smart home speakers listening and recording your private conversations?
Most definitely.
I think so too. And if I look at the list here in this article, where do people put their smart speakers? About half the living room, about a little less than half the kitchen. Then the bedroom was third. I'm like, no way.
We have one in our bedroom. Yeah, we have one.
Oh man, I mean, I can see like
bounce,
weather.
Bow, wow.
Hey, and if you're from the farm, it's brown chicken, brown cow. Okay, all right, that's terrible.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, the bedroom, I guess for alarms, that would be a perfect use case. Weather. But now we're just getting, okay. All right. I was thinking it was kind of lazy to put one in there, but living room and kitchen, I could see those two. Anyway, what do you think the future is of smart speaker technology? Where's there room to grow?
Well, it's funny.
Look at your crystal ball.
It's funny that you asked that, because if you're not watching much TV these days, because of being displaced, right?
I'm watching direct TV, so it's all appointment television, no on demand.
Oh, so you're not okay. So you are seeing commercials then?
I am, and it's so weird. Just so you know, I haven't watched appointment television in years, and it's so weird to see a commercial and explain what they are to my children.
Well, and we watch a lot of network on demand, so they still splice in commercials. And the interesting thing is that the holiday season ads are ramping up. And our good friends at Google and Amazon are going head to head at each other already this season with what they're calling their next innovation in this smart speaker technology or voice assistant technology. And it's going to, what the hell was that?
Sorry, I've got a dog next to me.
Oh, I thought you spilled a jug of water.
No.
So the new thing for them is the video. So it's the smart speaker or the smart, the digital assistant with the video display. So they're.
Oh, are you talking about the Facebook thing that?
Well, yeah. So there's the Facebook thing, which I've only seen brief blips of ads on that one. But Amazon and Google have both launched like 7 to 9 inch tabletop video conferencing voice assistant technology for Christmas.
So, do you trust Facebook to deliver that sort of thing?
I mean, obviously the product's out there, right?
Yeah. I'm still a firm believer that most people don't care anymore. No, young people don't care.
I think that one's going to flop. I mean, I think that Google and Amazon have a pretty good foothold, so they'll get more devices out there. But
sure,
the speaker technology, because that's another thing that they're all doing is they're coming out with better speakers in their cheaper products, plus their more expensive products as well. But the speaker technology will top out though. So it's always there's going to be a limit.
My biggest gripe with my Echoes is I can't play a song on one and have it sync to the other X number, a whole house, music.
You have to pony up a couple more dollars than the $30 Echo Dot.
Well,
you have to go with a Sonos product, which I have many of those because we love them here at our house. But
yeah, but
those have Amazon built in now too.
I can only keep up so many ecosystems. I have to keep up with the iOS ecosystem, the Android ecosystem, the Alexa ecosystem, et cetera, et cetera. I have brand or ecosystem fatigue at this point where it's just like,
Yeah, but Sonos is one of those really nice chameleon ones that it just fits in with your ecosystems that you already have. Like, I don't ever really have to use the app if I don't want to. So it's just plug. It's part of my network. It's not Bluetooth. It's amazing. Can't say enough good things about them.
Well, I will have to do some research on that. All right.
Their sound quality, superb.
So if I could segue to Alibaba, you want to guess?
Buying electronics? Let's go for
it. I think you and I talked about this. You want to guess how much in a single day sales they made on Sunday?
I saw the thing you posted. Because it's ridiculous. I would love to. Too bad people.
30 billion. 30 billion. That's more than $1 billion an hour. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? So,
but that's only in Eastern Asia, right?
Asia,
or in
correct.
Asia?
Yeah, China specifically, but I'm pretty sure it covers like Indonesia and right. Oceania. So, but
do people in India do Alibaba, or do they do Amazon, or do they have both there?
That I don't know, but I did recently find out that Apple's having a shit time getting a foothold in India. Android is just killing it there, or in some off-brand. They might be using Android, but
Apple helped tank the Dow the other day because they had some bad sales forecasts. They're going to reach saturation too any day now.
Well, yeah, because the number of hipsters coming out of college is not growing exponentially. It's only a steady state.
Well, and they're not making devices for any kind of a discount market at all, where Android does.
I can't reason why I would get like a MacBook Pro when Apple keeps trying to prevent me from servicing it. I mean, they go to some serious extremes. Not only is it hard to open up one, and iPhone too, but they make it so the parts cannot be third party and all these different things. And I'm just like, gosh, who are we? I mean, your own phones, you like limit them to like a 2-year thing, and you basically saying we no longer support them. And I can't go to a third party place to get a new screen or something. It's just crazy.
It's the whole drug dealer model, man.
It's the ecosystem thing again. You will play by our rules, or you will.
And you need our heroin.
Yeah, you can only get our heroin. Don't get their heroin. It works just. You get the same high, but it has to be branded Apple. And it just bugs me to no end.
Well, no, because Joe Rogan talks about this all the time. They lock you in because you can't. Their iMessaging, like they have so many like cool features that you only get through them, like your iMessage, your FaceTime, your, and once you switch, they make it almost impossible to switch back and get back into that ecosystem. You have to become a new identity, basically.
I feel like Apple needs to open source their hardware, and I don't mean their patents and all their stuff, but just let some third party make something, and let the actual phone owner at their own risk choose where their parts come from. Well, is it that freaking hard?
They did that with their desktop computers back in the 90s, the Power Towers. I can't remember the name of the actual company that was, I think it was Power Computing. Yeah. Power Computing, when they opened up their hardware licensing for the desktops, and then Power Computing came up with these badass design machines. And we had a whole agency filled with them. And then I think it was only 2 years later, Apple was like, nah, just kidding. We're going to buy Power Computing because they make great shit and no one else can use our hardware anymore.
Yeah, I just think that's against the spirit of things. I mean, freaking Microsoft open source MS-DOS a few weeks ago, and I was looking at that. I mean, it's just so weird how the tables turn in Silicon Valley and the Northwest. Apple, I love your iPad, but it's only because I probably didn't get a Surface first, and I don't know. I'm just kind of against the whole spirit of their hardware strategy.
We're a mixed family. We have Microsoft stuff and we have Apple stuff. And actually, my oldest has an Android phone and he loves it.
Yeah, we're definitely mixed. I've got the Android. The wife's got the iPhone. One of the kids has an iPhone. One of the other kids has an iPod. We have several iPads in the family. I have a PC for work, PC or laptop, Windows laptop for work. So yeah, we're mixed. I would love to get back into a MacBook Pro, but I keep asking myself, why, Kevin? Well, I like OS 10. It's not bad. It's very simple. I just like the feel of it. I like the look of a Mac, but they've made some really dumb decisions with the whole touch bar, the
Yep.
keyboard thing, our hardware specs suck and they cost twice as much as the competitor. I just don't understand. They've given me no reason to even want to look their way anymore. So I hope that changes one day. I like competition.
Yeah, you pasted something interesting right before we went on the air that Zuckerberg orders all execs to use Android.
Oh, yeah.
Not all of his employees, just the executives.
Well, I was thumbing through Recode or some app that's on my phone, and I read the article. Basically, Zuckerberg's pissed because back in March, Tim Cook shit all over Zuckerberg and Facebook, and I totally love Tim Cook's position. And Zuckerberg, I think's pissed. We'll show them. We won't use their iPhones here at Facebook.
So it is 100% childish. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I think so. I mean, I'm just reading between the lines there, of course. Though the article did point out something called the blind spot. So most developers have iPhones, according to the article. I don't know how they know that. And it's funny
data,
because
Kevin, big data. That's how. That.
There you go. But there are more Android users in the world than there are iOS. So it's funny because the developers don't really use the main product that they're building for, which is creating a bit of a development blind spot out there. So, thought it was interesting. And I also thought it was very childish of Mr. Zuckerberg to kind of pout about it. I think he's in a bad spot. It's like, wait a second, we're one of these companies that make so much money selling data porn. Quick, guys, let's come up with a reason why this is good and just and not just complete, a vice, because I think it totally is. So I don't know. That's all I got.
So we've talked about a couple things here tonight already that we've actually covered in the past, and it seems like the news is just kind of catching up with some things that we were talking about. Remember way back when we've been doing this we talked about this last week, almost a year now. We're coming up on that year anniversary really quick. We talked about the robot dog from Boston Dynamics a long time ago. Talked about all the Boston Dynamic robots and how freaky they are. They have been very much in the news again lately because they're constantly teaching them new skills. But I think that the video that I've been seeing looks a lot like the stuff that we were showing, almost a year ago. But somehow they're staying in the news cycle. So whoever does Boston Dynamics PR is doing a bang-up job.
I'm trying to figure out how they're making money. Who are they selling things to? Are they government funded? Are they VC? I don't know.
They must have been. I don't know. They maybe they're just what trust fund funded kind of thing. Parkour, the Atlas robot doing some parkour. That video was just released by Boston Dynamics on October 11th. And then Uptown Spot doing a dance. So they're doing all kinds of, and the jumping Atlas. So they're just pumping out the content just to promote these robots.
It'd be pretty awesome to work probably for like SpaceX, or if Boston Dynamics is the same way. It's like, guys, we're going to put something in orbit, or we're going to create these cool robots and we have no idea how to do it, but we have money and let's come up with a plan. Do it.
Oh, shit. I just found out why they're still in the news cycle.
Why?
SoftBank bought Boston Dynamics from Google. It's been over a year since we heard that Google's parent company Alphabet wanted to sell its robotics company, and now it has a buyer. But that was in June of last year, so they were owned by Alphabet. That's so funny. I did not know that.
Nor did I.
The more you know.
Fair enough. All right, what does that leave on the list? We forget anything?
I don't know. I think we've ripped through the docket. I'm looking forward to another week of dropping some of the LBs and getting in a little bit better shape. This little challenge thing has been a great motivator.
Oh, for sure. I'm super pumped that we've come up with this idea. It's good to have a challenge. It's good to have that quantifiable goal. It's good to have somebody to compete against. So it is good.
Our first big test coming up in a week and a day. Oh.
I think I've got the edge on you, Bob, because I think I can eat like a bird and just throw some turkey in and avoid the other stuff.
Yeah, but you know what's awesome is I can eat all the turkey and veggies I want.
Mr. Keto.
There's a whole bunch of other landmines though around that turkey and keto or turkey and veggies, so we'll see.
Yeah, Rice Krispie treats are usually my like soft spots, and there's usually a big like pyramid of them. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't talk about them.
we keep it pretty traditional with the desserts on Thanksgiving. Pretty much just your pumpkin pie and whipped cream. So
I'm gonna have to argue with my family on why I'm not just loading up the plate. I want to be like, well, you see, I have to buy a trophy if I lose.
Are they going to ask? Are they going to be like, "What's up, Kevin? Why are you not eating?"
Yeah, totally. I will be the skinniest one in the room for sure.
Hope your family's not listening to the show.
So they will all be, competing for belt sizes. I will be trying to go the other way.
And so will we or won't we record Wednesday? I'm not really going anywhere, so.
I am not going anywhere either.
Okay.
So maybe.
Look, so maybe. It's a strong maybe right now.
It's a definite maybe.
And this is episode 24, is that right?
Yeah, and I have a short week next week. I'm assuming you do too. And we have Black Friday next week and Cyber Monday after that. And so...
Well, we'll cover those on the following week's episode for sure.
That's true.
I wonder will I get anything?
Oh, you will.
Yeah, I got to figure out what I want/need that's move worthy, because I don't want to buy something I'm not going to move.
Oh, very good. That's right. Did you just leak some information there for our listeners? Have we ever mentioned this before?
I feel like we talked about it last week, but maybe we didn't.
I don't know.
Hopefully this summer.
Yeah. So let me be a little more specific. Bob is moving to Antarctica, and it should be in the summer.
No, I'm in Antarctica now. It was like 14 degrees when I woke up here this morning. It's ridiculous.
It was cold. Well, any reason to help you go to where you're going is, motivation for me. So remember, I will be at your house ready with the U-Haul.
Yes, we can drop the location. I'll be moving to somewhere in the mountains of Colorado this summer. So
Rocky Mountain High.
Probably more ways than one.
Good stuff, Bob.
All right. So you want to wrap up with anything in particular?
Nope, but I think you need to bring it.
It's time to bring the lightning.